Hi friends, my name's host Eric. I'm the host of Talking with Famous People. Oh, I need to move the microphone over. Perhaps it's because I'm such a silly goose that I forgot to do so. Maybe we'll never know. Maybe it's just impossible to say. Sorry about the noisy microphone. Okay, there. Now we should be fine. Things should be straightened out now. Today I am talking about how introverted thinking is not the same thing as intelligence. And I should probably begin this discussion by stating that I am as guilty as anyone of conflating the two. It's easy if you're an ENTP to get frustrated when other people aren't communicating in the fashion that you'd like, I guess. When you think they're being unfair in their communication because you're trying to mean specific things and they're trying to attain their desired outcome with words, it's a different frame of reference, I guess. But what really made me want to make this video is dealing with Monica, the ENFP. So she was hesitant to let me publish the video for one reason and one reason only. She didn't like the fact that her TI polar answers to the TI questions made her look dumb, quote unquote. And then she said, it's like I'm in Mensa. So the thing is, one thing I'd point out about IQ is when I took an IQ test that wasn't made out of deductive reasoning problems, I got 107 was my score. So what do we glean from that? Well, IQ tests are compilations of different skills that people like to link to quote unquote intelligence, but there's no particular reason why we ought to so heavily that's typical of polar, especially with TI. Just with TI, really. This is the problem, is that sometimes when I watch the typing sessions and I'll see people in the comments saying, like, why are you asking these IQ questions? Well, for people who aren't introverted thinkers, they have a very touchy relationship with introverted thinking, especially if it's polar, It's like heretofore in life, logic and deductive reasoning has primarily been used by the school system, sort of, to indirectly demonstrate to people that they're not smart enough. The thing is, other kinds of intelligence are a lot more difficult to measure than specifically TI. I know. I know I do, Winston's mom. I'm keeping an eye on the clock. I'm going to end this before 10. I wanted to chat about this particular topic because, it's frustrating for me as a typologist to know that that some of the things that I can most clearly distinguish with tests are also linked to ego stuff that makes it a tricky path to walk along, which includes extroverted intuition. So, like, oh, I haven't published that video yet. There's the guy that's in the premiere video this morning. I also have a typing session video of him, which I'm waiting for his go ahead to publish, which he probably will give me. But anyway, in that video, I Inky Pinky tests, and he has trouble with them, and you can just see. I mean, he. It's like it wasn't a huge deal or anything, but it's like you can tell when shit like that happens that the person feels like they're failing because it's such a test that it's such a test that is like you're failing it, right? Of course, it's not intended to be testing anything except who you are, so it's not really possible to fail it, Has Boba Fett been trying to book a session with me? I mean, look, the idea that somebody's been trying to and not succeeding is silly. Okay? Oh, thank you, Ink V. You're welcome. It's like people email me and say I want to book a time, and I email them right back. All he needs to do is email me or text me or something. There's been no such contact. So unless it's somebody that I booked that I don't know they're Boba Fett. The thing is, when you're talking epistemology, there are four things at play in epistemology. 1, TI, 2, FI, 3, SI, 4, NI. The universalists are generally going to be dismissive of the particularists in their respective yeah. So, for example, NI people are going to dismiss SI as a way of knowing, and find SI justifications simplistic or like simpletons or something like that. And somebody goes, "Well, worked before." NI types are going to go, but look at the reality right now. It's different. FI types are going to go, but I want it to be true. And TI types are going to go, that's not, don't say those words. Those words are not helping you. Also, and the other way around, FI people are going to feel like TI people are all high and mighty and think that just because they have the better words or something that they're right, but that's not really true. And SI people are going to be like, you say all these things, but I'll believe it when I see it. Sure, that's some smooth talk in there, NI types, but I'll believe it when I see it, when I can sink my teeth into it. So it's like that's the ongoing epistemological battle. Is INTP TE better than ENTP TE? I guess you can choose the meaning of the word better. Yeah, probably. I mean, what I noted when I was hanging out with Spacey a lot, who was an INTP, is that when I was doing something stupidly, it would drive him crazy. Like, let's say I was trying to put something on the wall or something, and instead of doing it properly. I was trying to like hold it with my knee while holding this thing here and hammering like this or some stupid ass shit like that. He would just go like, "I stop, just please stop," and and usually sort of take over for me a little bit. But the thing is, they actually have terrible TE themselves when they're trying to solve their own things. I I one time went to visit a INTP in Colorado, and we were playing make stuff with power tools, like carve wood with power tools. I brought power tools with which to do it, and like the INTP was such a fucking don't give power tools to an INTP. He like broke one of my attachments, lost another attachment, and it's just like here I. Yeah, consistent with fifth. So, when you toss some SE into the mix, the INTP's TE evaporates like the morning dew. But when it's just about critiquing how you're doing things stupidly, then they're great at that. Kiwi. Kiwi is your name Kiwi because you're from Old Zealand? I believe it was Old Zealand where they have the kiwi as their national fruit. Spelled a little differently though. Or wait a second. I could be wrong. I could be thinking of New Zealand. When people ask me what kind of my spirit animal is, I think the best answer is it's that really that really entitled kind of parrot thing that they have in New Zealand. There's this special kind of parrot in New Zealand that is very curious and messes around with people a lot. Like, well, if you have like, I don't know, whatever on your car, like say a little bling thing around you or whatever, they just take it off and they'll steal it and go away with it. And people, I guess they're very challenging to live near, but they're specially protected, so you can't do anything about it. So I think my spirit animal is that kind of bird, this kind of parrot. It walks around a lot. It does fly, but it seems to walk around a lot. Just like me. I'm adorable, I'm curious, I'm friendly, I can bite your finger off. You know? I'm entitled too. I love how entitled those birds are. They're just like, I don't care how big you are, you're not gonna do shit to me. Oh, it's not a big deal that it's people's property? Okay. Um, do executives and meta analysts have more trouble closing the gap between map and territory than analysts and executives? Uh, no. I mean, I think every configuration, each of the 16 configurations, is a strategy towards doing that, and each strategy works basically in its own way. Um, so I avoid being. Yeah, I think I'm talking about the kakapo. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. No, no, I'm not talking about the kakapo. Maybe because the one I'm talking about is not nocturnal, and it does fly some. I'm looking in the camera. You're gonna parent my child? What emotion is my face conveying right now? What FI is that I'm conveying? Can anybody help me identify the FI? I like entitled ground birds. Peacocks, we have peacocks around here. They're very much entitled ground birds. Uh, they rarely fly, and like yesterday, I swear, this is what happened with the fucking peacock when I was driving. Yesterday, I'm thinking of a Kia bird. Okay. Yesterday, there was this peacock. I was turning the corner here, and I was going to go this way. The peacock was going to cross the street. And I shit you not, it ran to get in front of my car so that it wouldn't have to wait for me, and then it walked the rest of the way across the street. Fucking birds. They know you're going to stop, so it's like, it's just like another is seizure FI. It's like another car, basically, except, how sometimes a car will, like if a car is going to turn right into your lane and you're coming like this way, sometimes you'll speed up to make sure that they don't get in front of you because you're going to have to slow down. Well, that's basically what the peacock did to me. It was a girl peacock, too. It was a peahen, actually. Peacocks are ESTPs. We have a male peacock that hangs out. Like the way it works with peacocks from observation only. Okay, this is, I don't know. I've never read anything about this, but from observation, the way it works with peacocks is each adult male peacock has a territory that's about equivalent to one square of houses, with a center house. So, like, let's say my house is the center house. It would include next door, across the street, across the street, across the street, behind us, behind us, behind us. So it's like a total of two houses in every direction from the center. Okay, it's about that big as their territory. And then in the evening, before they go to sleep, you hear this procession of peacock calls from all the different territories. So it'll start up there or something, and then a little further, until it goes all the way down to the neighborhood, and then you get the opposite in the morning. So if you don't, it's funny how people freak out about roosters, living near roosters. They don't want to hear all that loudness in the morning. Peacocks are very loud birds. They, many has been the occasion when I've been live streaming and someone says, "Is that a cat?" No, it's a peacock. It's yet another peacock hollering about something. The other thing is you can get them to do their call. If you go up to them and go, "Ah," they'll go, "Ah," back at you. So, anyway, Peter, our peacock that hangs out at our house, because he comes by regularly twice a day for food. And if we're not, if the door's closed, he will honk at us, honk, honk, until we come out and give him food, We also have the stray neighborhood cat named Trouble. We give him food. He meows at us if we don't. That's how you write the peacock call. E-I-oo, E-I-oo. Yeah, it's fine. It's like when you realize that all you've done is made yourself the servant to yet another animal, and that you're at their beck and call, you start to think like, why am I doing this? Like now the little birds yell at me too in the morning because I consistently throw out a handful of sunflower seeds. So like if I'm getting up late and I go outside, I get this this cacophony of little tweets thrown at me because everybody's like, "Where's the?" No, it won't let me pet it. I don't pet either the peacock or the or the stray cat. The stray cat will hiss at me if I get too close to it. The peacock, I could touch it. I have touched it on occasion, but it doesn't want me to pet it, you know. Peacocks don't have a desire to be pet. It'll eat out of my hand. It prefers I just put it down, though. But he's a really healthy peacock because he has a lot of nuts in his diet. He gets a lot of sunflower seeds. He gets a lot of peanuts as well, salted peanuts. So I don't know if all that salt's good for him, but he certainly seems to like them. What I'm going to look for right now, I'm going to play here, is a video on my channel of what is kind of difficult to catch. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not easy to catch this. An actual in action. I caught a successful peacock mating one time. It's these guys, these poor peacock guys, let me tell you something. They stand there on their spot on the lawn and they put up their feathers and they fan them out, and they'll be like, you know, this series of chicks walking by, and the chicks are just ignoring the living fuck out of them. Just like, what? I don't see anything. They're lucky if one girl in 50 even glances at them. The success rate of a male peacock trying to mate is extremely low. So I'm going to put this video here that I actually caught footage one time of a male successfully mating. You have to sit around for a long time normally to try to catch that, okay? But in this instance, what you're going to get to see is something pretty special. Oh yeah, pretty special. Hold on. Just give me a second. Here we go. Wait. Now I'm going to mute this and put the sound. Is the sound on? Put the sound on TV. Pow. 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 And pow. Talking with famous people. From behind you can see the back feathers shaking like that. Very interesting. Ladies are not very impressed though. He's really trying hard. But he's not that impressed. You've got to be impressed. You've just got to be. Lady Peahen, you must think, damn, that guy's got some feathers. Careful now, don't come on too strong. You don't want to scare the peahens away. This is an episode of Peacock Pickup Artist. So what you want to do is you want to shake your back feathers like that. There you go. Oh yeah. Ooh. Oh my goodness, look at this action. He got on her? He totally got on her. Did he mate with her? That's how you score in Peacock Town, I guess. That's interesting. He just sort of just hopped on top of her. She got too close. I guess that's what she does if he wants to get mated with. She just gets too close and he just hops on top of her. Let's see what else happens. This is some great peacock action. I see ya. Yeah, you're not gonna mate with me though, buddy. That is truly some great peacock action. Truly some hot and spicy great peacock action, right? Yeah, I don't think so because if you look, she lay down on the ground, like on first at purpose on first at first. So I'm pretty sure when she lay down on the ground, she was like, "Okay, I want you to jump on me," you know. Thanks, I 300. I appreciate it. You know, it's difficult to get that footage because, as you could see in the thing, usually the girls just walk by without even looking at them. You know. Well, the thing is, I think that's how she indicates that she wants to be mated on. Is she lies down flat on the ground? Because that happened shortly before he jumped on her. She lie down flat on the ground in front of him. Like I think it's obviously doesn't take a very long time. I don't think among peacocks and peahens that the woman's pleasure matters very much. You know what I'm saying? Right. He was like, "Say no more." Yeah. He didn't wait for her to change her mind. Right. He was just like, boom. So I will say I've lived in Arcadia my whole life, and I guess probably because it goes so fast, that's the only time I think I've ever actually witnessed a peacock mating, and certainly the only time I've filmed one. So I felt pretty lucky about grabbing that moment on camera. You know, of the two peacocks there, the one who wasn't getting any action. See, that's how the peacock territories work, right? Pete's Pete's territory ends at that driveway that you saw at the beginning, and then the other guy who lives at down at the end of the street, his territory begins there. So even though they were very close to each other, it didn't matter because neither of them had crossed the territorial line. So they were fine with each other. They could stand right next to each other as long as Pete doesn't go over that side of the driveway or the other guy doesn't go over this side of the driveway. Sometimes I'll see Pete in the back, and there'll be some adolescent males hanging out with some hens. Because, like, adolescent males often hang around with hens. You can tell the adolescents because they don't have the big feathers in the back yet. And he'll run up to them, and they'll always go, "Ah, squawk," and run away, you know. Well, if it were for that purpose, I think I didn't really. It would be soft core because I didn't really get good camera angles on the juicy action parts. You know, I think none of us know any more now what a peacock's penis looks like than we did prior to watching that video. That's the problem with it is as peacock porn. What's the CV up? Oh, yeah, CV up there. God, I know what CV is. Yeah, I remember now. It's been a while since I've applied for a job. Oh, so you know, pretty soon, I guess we should start seeing a lot of baby peacocks around. Cobras have a double penis? Do cobra women have a double vagina? I mean, the thing that's weird about peacocks is, when I was a kid, they started off, they were just here in the village, which is this one part of Arcadia where I live. And then eventually, uh, they started, they started moving into some other neighborhoods. The thing is, around the village, there are busy streets on all. It's like a square of houses. The square outside of the square is made by four busy streets. Um, it was fine. Uh, that's how the DMT trip was. It was fine. It was fun, I guess. Um, but now there are other communities around the San Gabriel Valley, especially up near the mountains, where the peacocks now have taken up residence. The California State Game and whatever Commission, they consider the peacocks to be an independently living wild flock of peacocks, and all peacocks to be that. Um, and and so you can't, but they're not considered game animals, so you can't do anything to them. You can't molest them in any way. So that means basically you can't shoot them with a pellet gun. You can't even. You're not supposed to like make loud noises to make them go away even. So of course, people don't really obey those things. You're also not supposed to feed them. So, but the thing is, what it says, the sign says, is don't feed them on Arcadia public property. Well, I feed the peacock here in my backyard, so that's not Arcadia's business, I guess. I wonder if like the state of California would, like, do some stupid ass government intervention thing where they come and cite me and try to prevent me from feeding a peacock in my own backyard, a wild peacock in my backyard. Rebecca Vitzman says, I score really high on IQ. I'm ENFJ. I use NI mostly. Just kind of insta-know things, don't have good explanations for why. So, exactly. We all have a configural approach towards map and territory matching up. That's the prime directive, is reduce dissonance between map and territory. It tends to be the case that people who are more map oriented score higher on things like IQ tests. That's because map oriented people are the people who are interested in making tests that map people like that. And naturally, they're going to want to reward qualities prevalent in themselves. DMT 0 anyone. I liked that comment. Everybody expected me to react to it in certain ways or something, or behave in certain ways, or say certain things, but it's like, I am who I am, whatever drug I'm on. The only drug I can't handle that really changes me in bad ways is alcohol. There are plenty of drugs that I don't like, but look, the thing is, the easy way you can know for sure that TI and IQ are loosely linked at best is the fact that my TI is very good, like really good. And I scored 107 on the IQ test that I took, because the IQ test that I took was mostly visual pattern recognition, of which I'm terrible. In fact, it was entirely visual pattern recognition. What about TE? I mean, TE is a form of intelligence as well, right? But it's not one that's going to test so easily. Like, I wrote down a couple of TE heuristics because I want to kind of make a list of these and then do a video where I list them all out, like examples of TE here using SI to work around TE. In other words, to learn some rules of thumb that provide replacements for TE. So I put down here, if hot, creamer then coffee. Why? Well, there's a lot less spillage going on when you do it that way, basically. If cold, creamer first, then coffee, then microwave. Don't wait for it to be hot to put the creamer in like you normally would, because it's you make more of a mess when you put the creamer in that way. And then I put this other TE heuristic down. Move and place the camera and mic last. I had this bad habit of trying to go to set up to like live stream or something, and getting all the, instead of getting all the shit set up first, like the software and the meow, I move these, but then I end up interfering with my ability to move around. I still have to move around more to do other things, and it's like, just put the camera and the mic last. Those kind of order operations things, those are TE things, and it requires TE attention to note this as a possible rule that you could apply every time. So in that regard, it's TE, but by putting it as a SI heuristic or SI rule, you make it a heuristic so you don't require yourself to, in real time, use TE and deal with the problem in that fashion each time independently like that, It's true, intelligence can be so many things. The IQ test is an attempt to provide you a score that supposedly represents composite IQ of some kind, like composite intelligence, But there is no instance in the world in which composite intelligence is useful. So, for example, Jordan Peterson supposedly has an IQ of 160 something. Okay, yeah, well, look, Rain, the multiple intelligences theory, quote unquote, or whatever you want to call it, is really just an attempt to seize the framing of the word intelligence. That's all it is. So whether you like that reframing or not is the only question at hand. It doesn't really mean anything beyond that. But what was I going to say? Oh, right. So I don't doubt that Jordan Peterson has a higher composite intelligence than I do. But it's like we talk about many similar kinds of things, and where we disagree, I am definitely right. So it's like, what good is his intelligence? I mean, it really depends on which test you take, but if it primarily tests pattern recognition, visual pattern recognition, then it's probably NITE. If it primarily tests verbal reasoning, then it's probably NETI, Is game theory, decision theory a TE thing? I don't know, really. I have to think about it. I mean, it's basically an attempt to render subjective aspects of humans making decisions in competitive environments into vectors that are well defined and can be reliably predicted, I guess. So, I don't know, there's a lot of conditionality in it too. You've got me kind of wanting to research game theory more. And I don't really want to do that right this second. So I'm going to have to defer on answering that. Well, sure. For chess, you're definitely looking at visual pattern recognition, physical visual pattern recognition. That's straight up NITE is the function pair for that. The test you took had pattern recognition, language, mazes, puzzles, math. They say words and asked me to define them, none of which I recognize at all. Okay, so like if you take that kind of test, rewards people who can perform well in all categories as the maximum intelligence, right? Now, it could be it's likely to be the case that people who have then a very high IQ will not be those who have the highest IQ in any given area, but rather those who have the most broad success across the areas. So, in other words, the people with the highest IQ are never smartest at any given thing. So, I don't know. But it's like I say, go back to Jordan Peterson. What good is IQ? If his IQ is 160 something, great, fine. Mine's 107. So it doesn't change the fact that I'm right, he's wrong, and that I am. If we were to debate matters, I would be the wheat thresher and he would be the wheat. There is no disputing that. It's like in terms of correctness, my score is off the charts. Sudlip Rizzle said, I would say Annie is making pattern, not seeing pattern. NI is seeing pattern. I mean, I think that's not quite right. I think that you got extroverted intuition works always off of one of three things. It has a launching spot. So that launching spot could be a pattern, in which case it's going to deviate from the pattern in ways that are interesting and may create a new pattern or may simply represent a disruption of a pattern. And it could build off of extroverted sensing. If it's building off something extroverted sensing, you're looking at like a Kaiser Soze kind of thing, Usual Suspects, where he's looking at shit around the room and making up stories off of it. Is he creating patterns? Well, the thing is, people perceive patterns. You can lay something out that is more or less likely to be perceived as a given pattern, right? So if I say to you, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, what comes next? The obvious pattern is 3, right? So in that instance, I've laid out something for you that's highly suggestive of a pattern and operated under the probably correct assumption that your capacity to recognize patterns is at least good enough to know that the answer to that is 3. I want to take the Wonderlic test. Okay. I'm going to wrap this up, this live stream, because I have a premiere coming on in 10 minutes. So I think what I'll do is, before I leave here, though, I will link the premiere, and I got to just get the link for that, and I'll put it in the chat here, so that the video in the premiere is about 35 minutes long. So just to let you know, and which is long enough to engage in a decent amount of chatting, you know. I'm going to copy link address with my finger. Have you guys tried that? You guys tried using your finger to copy link address? It's so satisfying. It's so silky smooth on your fingertip. Anyway, thanks for watching, and don't forget, TI is not IQ, it's just correct.